Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, we are going to be kind of talking about my money story and talking about my relationship with money. I realize I have been making money related content for some years now, but I don't know that we've ever, took a deep dive into my relationship with money and all of that. So today I think it's going to be a fun video. It's going to be fun for me to film anyway. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into today's video. So I do have to say, this is my first time being off of work and not having to report to work for this long of a time. I work in public education now as of earlier this year. And so I'm off of work now for the summer. My husband is as well. We are off of work for the first time together. And I just want to say, I feel like it is causing me to go inward and to just examine who I am as a person, what I want out of life. It's kind of crazy. I think COVID had the same type of impact whenever I was working from home, and while I was still working, I still just had more time on my hands, more time to think. I don't know about anyone else, but when you're just, in that hustle and bustle, waking up, getting the kids ready or whatever your morning might look like or whatever, getting the kids to school, going to work, leaving work, picking up the kids from school, coming home, doing homework, exercising, going to activities, whatever the case is. I don't know about anyone else, but in my experience, I don't think that really fosters, one having a bunch of time to actually think and process. And so for the first time in my adult life, I feel like I'm able to think, and I'm thinking about so much because I have nothing better to do but to think. I film these videos, I'll get on camera and do some YouTube every now and again, maybe once a week I may film videos. Right now, well, that's pretty much the case around the clock anyway, but other than that, I have lots of time to sit and think. I'm on the patio with it. I'm on the front porch with it. I'm just thinking. And so I was just thinking about my money mindset that I have right now and really just thinking about what led me to where I am. So in kind of talking about where I am right now, what I've been processing and working through, I thought it might make sense for the first time ever just to kind of talk about what I was taught about money or what I wasn't taught about money when I was younger. So let's throw it back to probably when I was 5 or 6. I would say that, well, first of all, I would say from birth up until 6, I lived in a 2-parent household and there were 3 children, so 5 of us in the household. And I don't have any real recollection of any money talks or money messages that I was taught or any real recollection of money, to be honest. But I think that around 6, there's something that I do think, but for factually, around 6 is when my father actually passed away due to medical complications, and just, he wasn't really in the best health and never took care of his health at all. And the lifestyle that he was living wasn't conducive to, what he was struggling with medically. And so I feel like that's when I really started to become cognizant of money and what that meant. And so quickly overnight we became a 1-parent household and a 1-income household, and that would remain for up until I moved out of my house at 17 when I went off to college. So I guess from 6 to 17 is when I began to get exposed to money and what that meant. Obviously we learn money messages. We learn about money from other people, sometimes at school or our friends, peers, YouTube, we can learn about money everywhere. But as far as in my household, from 6 up until 17 or, whatever, that is when I began to kind of internalize what money meant to me. And so the money messages and what I learned about money, I felt like it was, first of all, we were poor and lived in poverty. So it came from a place of scarcity. So before my father passed away, I don't remember us lacking for anything or there being any worries or stresses. Now also I was young, so I wouldn't really remember all of this anyway, but I'm just saying it became very apparent when we went down to 1-income, 1-parent household and all of that. And so that's when I began to notice my mom, kind of talking about money or really talking about the lack thereof. And so yeah, so for 11 years or so, what I was really, my mindset, I had a scarcity mindset, I guess. I will say though, I don't think that those money messages negatively impacted me. And so I have some questions that I want to put on you guys as we kind of dive deeper into today's video, and as I kind of share more about, you know, where I am right now and what impacts that those money messages would have on me. And those questions are, I actually wrote them down really quickly. Who am I? What are your earliest money memories? What money messages were you shown or taught when you were a child? I just shared, you know, kind of what I was shown and what I was taught. Were the money messages positive or negative? Were they helpful or were they not helpful? What money messages did you carry to early adulthood? What money messages are you carrying right now? I don't know what age you are right now, but what money messages are you carrying right now? Because when I was 17, 18, how I was operating and my relationship with money looked way different than what it does right now. How have the money messages that you've been taught impacted you throughout your different phases of life? So when you were younger, when you were in early adulthood, now, how have those money messages impacted you, and have they positively impacted you or have they negatively impacted you? And ultimately the question is, do you feel that you need to change your relationship with money? Is your relationship with money right now beneficial, helpful, helping you to thrive? Or I liken it to, which is kind of the point of this video, some people have an abundance mindset, which is kind of like they believe money comes and, you know, money goes, money will always come to them. They'll always have the resources that they need to meet their needs. And then other people may have more of a scarcity mindset. And so for me, I feel as though I'm kind of right there in the middle. So taking it back to when I was younger, and this is what I was really trying to process, even though we were poor and living in poverty and all of that, I would say more often than not, I guess, my needs were met as far as like, well, I don't know, more often than not, but I remember my needs being met, but I also remember me getting things that I wanted as well. And I had a lot of people, I had a huge support system also, but I remember getting like a Dooney and Burke purse, whatever, an iPod, and my first computer, and like I remember getting some of the things that I wanted. And so I really feel like my life now is really exactly like my life was at 12 or 10 or whatever the case is, because I really feel like as of right now, which is the relationship that I'm examining, I was kind of just trying to figure out if I were operating from a scarcity mindset or an abundance mindset. And I feel like I do operate from an abundance mindset. I can say, since I have been on my own since 17 and like taking care of my own needs, I have always gotten my needs met. Also, I have always been able to get my wants met as well. I will say that, you know, my salary has increased over the years, and that has been helpful in me being able to get my wants met, because some people are struggling to even get their needs met. Some people can get a few of their wants met, or maybe some people can't. Maybe some people can get a lot of their wants met. I do feel like I have every single thing that I need. There's nothing that I have not had that there's nothing that I haven't had that I've needed since I turned 17 and went off to college. Like since then, since I began working and all of that, my needs have always been met. I've never missed a rent payment. I've never had anybody help me with rent either, mind you. I've never had anybody help me with food. Well, I feel like maybe back in the day, some folks were helping me with food, but definitely since, you know, the past 10, maybe since like 21, no one has helped me with purchasing food. No one has helped me to get my needs met. Not like family members, friends, not the government. Like I'm pretty sure a friend has purchased me some things before. My mother-in-law now, since she lives up the street, she takes us out to eat and buys us things. But like I have been able to get my needs met on my own, you know, with the having a husband tremendously helps, make no mistake. But for the most part, I'm able to get my needs met. I've always been able to get my needs met. I will have to say, I feel like to get some of my wants met, I have always had to have a little side hustle. And I have always had a little side hustle. I can't tell you a time that in the past 10, 11 years, however long I've been working full time, that I didn't have a little side hustle. My side hustle now ain't so little because it earns a lot of money, but I've always had a side hustle, and I've always allowed that side hustle, which made sense to have one for sure before I was married, because I didn't really have much to do with my life, or, you know, like I hung out with my friends when I could, but, you know, I wasn't married to anyone or whatever. So I will have to say that I guess I had fewer wants then back in the day, but I definitely always used my little side hustle to get some of my wants met. I remember one job I had where, you know, I would use the money from my full-time job to pay all of my bills and things like that, and I had a little side hustle, and then I would use that money for traveling and like doing all of those things that actually really bring me joy, some of those things that I actually want. And so I've just always had a side hustle. I also have a memory of when I was in 5th grade, I think, I opened up a savings account and I would deposit money in there independently. And when I was younger, this is what I was thinking about. I used to hoard money, which that hasn't changed either. So when I was younger, you could ask anyone, any friend, any family member. I had on me, not like on my person, but like in my bank account, at least, I had hundreds of dollars on me at all times, because when I would earn money, like little money here or there, or I would get money for good grades or whatever, I would literally just I would save that money. I would make sure that my needs, like literally use that money only if I absolutely needed it. If I could avoid spending money, I would do that. And so that's kind of what is still true for me today. I make sure that my needs are met, which is quite easy to do that now because I make enough and I have a husband and we have a dual income household, so we earn enough to get our needs met easily, but we also have enough to get our wants met as well. And so that's a little tricky because even though I do operate, I believe, from an abundance mindset, it's still a little bit of a struggle for me to get some of my wants met. You guys know I'm pretty analytical, and so before I make any purchase, I have to really analyze this. Like literally, like this iPad, I bought it because my laptop is broken and has been broken. I have a desktop, so what I was battling with is, well, Shay, you know, sure, you can't edit at Starbucks anymore or do work at Starbucks. You can't edit at work on your lunch break. You can't do the things that you were doing when you had a laptop, but you have a computer. It's just at home, so you're kind of bound to doing your work at home, which obviously isn't the worst thing in the world, but those were some of the thoughts that were running through my head. Then I'm always asking myself, especially with a larger purchase. A large purchase to me is anything over $100. Like if I need to purchase anything over $100, I'm gonna put myself through the ringer trying to justify this purchase. With the iPad, you know, I probably took, I say it takes me like 6 months at least to make any major life decision, but like I was really going through, and I still do that to this day, like really asking myself, is this going to be beneficial? Like really weighing the pros and the cons. Now, I'm not an impulsive person ever. I never have been, not when it comes to spending, when it comes to doing anything. So that is a part of my personality. So I would never just randomly, impulsively purchase anything, especially something that's like $1,200. But I just remember back in December when I purchased this, which honestly, I think this is like the, this computer might be the desktop. That might be the most expensive thing that I have ever purchased. But my husband actually bought that, so I actually didn't even purchase it. So as far as I am concerned, like in this house, probably the iPad computer situation. But anyway, I was just kind of examining that and just kind of thinking about, you know, the money messages that I was taught, and you know how they have followed me throughout my life, and I would say that they have been pretty consistent. Again, I truly feel like I do operate from an abundance mindset just off the strength of the fact that my needs are always met, but I definitely, it gets a little tricky when it comes to wants. It takes a lot out of me to purchase, to get something that I really want. You know how some people are like, what do they say? Like, I deserve this, I've worked hard for this. I have never uttered those words. Like, I've never even thought of those words. I can't even fathom like thinking that I deserve something nice just because I work hard. Like, that doesn't equate to me to purchasing something that I might not act like. Also, I do have to say, I don't like being wasteful, so that doesn't help at all, because like I cringe at the thought of purchasing something that I have convinced myself that I want for whatever reason, and then I don't actually use it. I don't know, the thought stresses me. This is why I don't have a Louis Vuitton bag, you guys. I could go buy me a Louis Vuitton bag, but like, what is the purpose of this Louis Vuitton bag? It's very, these are the thoughts that run through my head. It is very difficult for me to justify larger purchases. And so anyway, I kind of wanted to just kind of, I guess, open up and share that with you all, kind of share some of these thoughts that I've been having with you all. And so I guess what I wanted to talk about is that I've concluded that growing up, my needs were met, I guess, half the time. I also got a lot of my wants met. I remember wanting a Barbie Jeep when I was younger, like 4, and I didn't get it, which is kind of interesting because that was when I had a 2-parent household. And so anything that I would ask my mom for beyond that, I would get. And so I feel like when you are growing up poor, you know, like your limits. You know that, well, first of all, if your parent or parents are kind of stressing about money and worrying about money, and you're hearing that and around that and internalizing those money messages, then you kind of learn to kind of walk on eggshells when it comes to asking for things. Of course, kids do want things, but I feel like we learn to not like overdo it. So like if I got 2 things that I really wanted in a year, that would be great for me. So I think that's where a lot of my gratitude comes in. You know, I'm pretty heavy on practicing gratitude, and that's never going to change because I strongly feel like we should all be able to afford the things that we need. And if we can get some of our wants met in this world, then we should be grateful for that, because there are people who are not getting their wants met, and we can't really go tit for tat and, you know, compare ourselves and kind of slight ourselves, or, you know, make ourselves suffer, if you will, because of the lack of what other people have. But for me, it's just what it is. When I just think about things, getting my needs met, and then if I can get my wants met, then I feel like that's amazing, and I'm eternally grateful for that. But I was just thinking about, you know, the money messages that I was taught when I was younger, how they followed me to early adulthood, which is kind of like college, and then where I am today. Now, thankfully, when we got married, my husband and I kind of had to, and that's a fun thing for me to kind of think about, because in essence, what we did is just combined our finances, and that sounds easy, but really there was a lot of unpacking that we had to do. My husband, though, which is interesting, he was raised in a single parent household as well, for the most part, for most of his life, and he got his needs met and even a lot of his wants met, but he definitely operates from a scarcity mindset. Like, I have to convince him to spend money. I was telling my niece yesterday, I was saying, you know, she was asking me something. I don't know, we were having a deep conversation. She's 13. And I was saying, by the way, she told me I would be an ideal mother. And I was like, wow, that's like the nicest thing anyone's ever told me. Almost teared up. But anyway, we were talking about something, and I was telling her, like, my husband, like, I think I was saying, I guess she was asking if we had combined finances or if we had the same checking account or something. And I was saying, yes, we do, but he could not tell you how much we have in any of our accounts. He probably couldn't even tell you how many accounts that we have. He literally just, his checks get deposited into our account. And then she was asking me something like, so do you think he'll see something? I don't know what she was asking me, but I was like, no, he's probably not going. No, that's what she was asking. She was asking, does he, like, his deposits get checked, his checks get deposited, and does he just spend money? And I was like, you know, actually, for as long as we've been married and had combined finances, his checks get deposited, but he doesn't really spend that much money. I'm like, he might do good to spend $100 or $200, like, in swiping his card, his actual card. He might swipe it, you know, in any given month, and it might add up to $150, it might add up to $200. You throw in alcohol, which is for me and him, then we probably might exceed $200. But like for him, just getting the little things that he wants or feels like he needs, it's only gonna take like $100 or so, like literally. And so anyway, I guess what I was thinking is that, you know, we definitely, it sounds like we just combined our finances and went on with our lives, and that was easy, but it really did take a lot of work to get to where we are. So yeah, he definitely operates from a scarcity mindset, which doesn't seem to impact him any. I don't think that'll ever change, if I'm being honest. I do have to like encourage him. I think the last thing that he purchased that was kind of expensive was a guitar. And I think it was every bit of like $100 or $200 or something. And so that took a lot out of him. He's just like me. We're not impulsive. We're quite analytical. Things have to make sense for us. I can't be out here just buying up a bunch of stuff and it doesn't make any sense for me. He's not gonna be out here buying up a bunch of stuff and it doesn't make sense for him. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about that today. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully my little prompts were helpful. The prompts were kind of what was running through my head as I was unpacking and going inward and, you know, talking about my relationship with money. So I decided to jot them down and, you know, share those with you all. Hopefully they will be helpful for you just to kind of get the ball rolling, because there are lots of things that we have to unpack. If you've experienced trauma of any sort, we got to unpack that. If you are living a life that isn't in alignment with the life that you want to live or the life that you want to live in the future, we got to unpack that. There's lots of unpacking that we have to do. Living and breathing in this world is kind of problematic, but you know, what else can we do? So there's lots of going inward and processing and unpacking that we all must do. And I've been doing a lot of that over the summer, and I've been thinking about a lot of different things. So definitely, if you want to hear more about what I've been thinking about, then let me know. I've already done a few rants already, so you're probably aware of what all I've been trying to unpack. But yeah, when you just are just going through the motions, I don't think people really stop and think about, you know, what it is, what it is that they're even after. Like, it's kind of like we're in this rat race on a hamster wheel, I guess, and we're just going through life, going through the motions, which is what I think, that's how this world was designed. Well, not how that's how it is right now. And I think that's the purpose, for us to just, you know, just be running this race. But we have to actually stop and think about, like, is this race that I'm running even worthwhile? That is going to be it for today's video. I do have a little special announcement. My husband has long wanted to start a podcast. We now have the time, energy, and equipment to go forth and conquer. The announcement, I guess I've already shared it, is that we're going to be starting a podcast, and it is going to be called A Couple Facts. And that'll make sense once once we explain it in the podcast. It is going to be a video podcast. So I encourage you to subscribe to our new YouTube channel, which I will have linked down below. Our first episode should be going live next week, and it's going to be a weekly thing. And I'm pretty excited about it. So we're working out the kinks now, getting all of our graphics together and all of that fun stuff. But I did want to let you know that basically the conversation that I just had, these are going to be similar conversations that you can expect from the two of us. And not only will we be talking about money, but we're going to talk about everything else. So that is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you're new and if you're liking what you're seeing, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye guys.